It is not your fault. You took those student loans at 18 because you were told that college was the ticket to a better life. And the parts of your brain that help you with decision making, impulse control, planning and organization, emotional regulation, like those are not developed until your mid-20s. That credit card debt that you spiraled into after being a cash-starved college student, it's a mix of not having the financial education to understand how these credit cards work, struggling to regulate your impulse control due to an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, and quite literally being targeted by credit card companies. Have you ever thought about the presence of credit card companies on campus? Chances are they've paid a huge fee, sometimes in the 7 figures, just for the opportunity to be there and market their credit cards to you. And in some cases, okay, this is really gross, some colleges will actually receive incentives for every student that signs up for a credit card, or they'll receive like a kickback in terms of how much you actually spent on the card, like a percentage of charges made. These companies know that the average person in college probably doesn't have the prefrontal cortex development or the financial knowledge to avoid these traps, so they prey on that and they use you to line their pockets with cash. That new car that you bought as a graduation present to yourself because everyone else was doing it, but now you're struggling to make the payments. You likely have aggressive loan terms like high interest rates or really long payback periods because you were told by the salesperson to focus on the monthly payment, not the total cost of ownership. The wedding debt you went into at 25 years old because conventional wisdom told you that the wedding gifts that you get from all the guests, the cash, it'll just pay for the wedding. That mortgage you're now having trouble paying for because you bought on the bank's pre-approval because you trusted the bank. You're like, these are the money people. I'll let them tell me what to do. They know best. These things are not your fault. This is all by design. Companies create marketing strategies to target the people that they think that they can make the most money off of. And generally, they make the most money off of people who just don't know. So if you didn't have someone to teach you and you got to this point in life by trusting the institutions that you assumed would be trustworthy, that should be held to a standard of care and trust, like you're not unreasonable for thinking that, instead of just taking advantage of people when and where they can, like that's not your fault. So you can drop the shame and you can drop the blame. You are never going to get ahead with money by holding on to the belief that you intrinsically as a person are bad with money. You are not. You just didn't have the knowledge necessary to make an educated decision. But here's where it gets interesting. Okay, now that you have recognized the problem and you've recognized the pain and the suffering that comes along with not knowing, it is your responsibility to learn. You cannot keep repeating the same actions, hoping for different results. 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So if you want something different in your life and you have identified the gap of here you are right now, here's where you want to be, you need to find the bridge, the knowledge bridge that is going to help you get from point A to point B. If you want to learn how to take your finances in your own hands and take control of your money and finally start building your dream life without all of this stress, even though you make good money, I'm your girl. I teach you about money. Follow for more and check our link in bio. We have 4 free money trainings available. These trainings will help you learn the things that you should have been taught so you can finally start getting ahead, so you can finally start winning.